Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Joe Hammer Gaming channel. And obviously to another Warframe video. This one's probably going to be a little bit longer though. In this video we're going to look at how to beat your first Eidolon. So this is aimed at primarily beginners that don't have access to loads of stuff. Now I'm a one-take kind of person, so whilst I've got a few bullet points, I don't use scripts, so if I mess up or start stuttering or something like that, then we're just going to deal with it. So apologies if that happens. This video is going to be broken down into 4 parts. And I'll put some timestamps down in the description below. These are going to be, first up, minimum requirements, everything you must do to be able to really participate in an Eidolon hunt. Now, you can obviously be present during one without any of this having happened, but yeah, I think that's kind of pointless. Second is going to be the pre-fight setup. So once you go into the plains, leave setters, things you need to do before you can actually take on the Eidolon. Third, should I say, will be the actual fighting of an Eidolon. So the things that you need to accomplish to actually defeat the Eidolon, which can technically be done by almost any frame, but there are definitely some standouts that you can do, and there's some great like party combinations, but we're not going to go into that. And then lastly, we're going to go through some basic tips for a couple of Warframes when hunting Eidolons. They're going to be for Limbo and Mirage, because I think they're quite new user friendly. There's not too much to using them. They're pretty straightforward, as long as you kind of have an idea as to what you're doing. So skip through to the parts that you need. I note that we aren't going to be diving into anything specific for other Warframes. I may well make specific videos for those later, if you guys request it. If there are any that you think I should cover, then please let me know down in the comments below. So with all that said, let's get into the minimum requirements. Now the first thing you're going to need to do is get the War Within quest done. This is all findable on your codex, and I'm not going to go directly into that. I will try to repeat the quest if it's something that you guys want to see me do on the channel, but the story stuff I like to kind of leave off of the channel because it's quite spoilerific. But you will need to have access to your operator. You're also going to have to do the Sire Vigil, just so that you've got access to Onco, as this is where we're going to actually start improving amps and stuff. You'll need to level your Motamp to rank 30. I can do a separate video on this if you like, but essentially it just involves you getting your operator out during missions. Once you get it to level 30, you're able to guild it. So I'm going to show you on my Motamp just here. So you're going to guild your amp, name it the Motamp, name it whatever, and that is actually going to improve its damage. Now whilst this isn't going to be amazing, it's probably a good idea to make the best of what you have, particularly as you're probably going to have this for a while. You will need to spec a weapon to have radiation damage, so let's just get into the arsenal here. So we're going to look at my Rubrico Prime, but this can the concept of this can be applied to anything. Okay, so to get radiation damage on there, you need to combine heat and electricity. Now you can do this on pretty much any weapon, but you're going to want it to be a weapon that can fire at range, so not a shotgun. Sniper rifles and kind of charge up weapons like the Lanka are pretty good. I've also seen something on Ivaro if you guys want to try that, and we're probably going to make a video on that actually because it's amazing. Once you've got that, you really want to concentrate on crit and raw damage as much as you can. So obviously on here we've got things like Serration, Heavy Caliber, and all that kind of stuff. And if you have gone for a high crit weapon, highly recommend Vigilante mods whilst we're talking about them. The effect of this actually spreads across. I pressed the wrong button there. Actually spreads across to the ones that you put on your Sentinel as well, which is really handy to know about, because that's going to upgrade the damage that your crits can do. After that, obviously you're going to want to kind of mod your Warframe specifically to how you want it to use, but the reason I'm going to bring this up is because you want to bring along Corrosive Projection. This gives a negative modifier to the Eidolon's armor, which is going to allow you to do extra damage. And then finally, you're going to want to bring along some, although this technically isn't required, you are going to want to bring along some kind of transport, so either a K-Drive or an Arc-Wing. Now, of course, this is actually going to be in your gear wheel, so make sure when you go in you have either the Arc-Wing launcher or the K-Drive launcher available. The Arc-Wing launcher is preferable, but I found it easier to get the K-Drive launcher, so if you want to try and make a start on this early, then feel free to do that. I don't know why I just found the K-Drive easier to get just because it was mission related rather than rather than having to farm the resources. So that is basically the minimum requirements met. After that, we're going to look at what happens when we leave Cetus. Okay then, so we've reached our minimum requirements, and it's time for us to start looking at how to take on the Eidolons. Now, first up, we need to wait for it to become night in Cetus. This can be found when you hover over Cetus on the star map. Once it turns to night, you'll find a bounty from Konzu, which will allow you to choose between 2 different Eidolon hunts. Don't pick the triple one. Pick the single one. Whilst we're still new at this, we are beginners after all. And then enter into the plains. Once you enter the plains, you'll need to find at least 2 Eidolon lures. These are weird-looking Grenier contraptions with orange glowing orbs on them, which you'll need to keep the Eidolon, or Terrorist as this one's called, in place while you fight it. They're usually located near pools of water, and there's usually a few in the base directly ahead of you as you exit Cetus. So there's a few around. You should see some in the video anyway. Once you have 2 of these, start making your way over to where the Eidolon is, which will be roaming around somewhere on the plains. It's quite often that other players will start attacking it quickly, and if they are attacking it already, then you just need to try and do this quickly, which can be tough when you're just starting out, but it will become easier as you start working out where to find the lures. Once you reach the Eidolon, the lures will need to charge themselves. You'll know that they've done this once they turn blue. They charge themselves up on surrounding Vomvilists, which you can shoot with your standard weapons to turn them blue if you want to speed this process up. If you don't do this, then they won't trap the terror list, and you'll have to chase it around until they do turn blue. So make sure this happens as early as you can. Okay then. So once we're at the Eidolon, the first thing you need to do is exit your Warframe and fire your Amp's Void Beam at the Eidolon. This is to begin stripping its shield. You'll see its health bar turn purple when you target it with your Operator's Amp, which means that you can actually damage the shield. It's immune to all of the types of damage whilst it has the shield on, and whilst you're in your Operator mode, you can avoid all of its attacks by entering your own Void mode, which I think is like the LB on a controller, which makes you go invisible, apart from the Stomp, which you would actually need to jump over. Once you've stripped the shield all the way down, you'll be able to target its weak points, which are on the knees and the shoulder areas in this case. Target a single part. If you have like a group of new people, kind of like make an order as to which parts you're going to target first, until it breaks to injure the Eidolon. There's no point in spreading the damage around, as they're going to regenerate all of their health for the next round of it anyway. Once you've broken one of the terrorists' weak points, it'll kind of like fall over, and you'll get like a warning that it's about to create an energy spike. This is lethal if you get caught by it. You have 2 choices to avoid it really. You can either enter Void mode, or you can use something like Limbo's Rift ability, which will create like a big umbrella, essentially take you out of the plane while it's emitting what I think is like magnetic damage or something like that. You're going to repeat this. I think it's 3 times, 1 for each of the weak points. We're going to total 4 times altogether. And provided your lures are charged, it won't disappear in between them. If they are not charged, then it will like kind of disappear, and you'll have to chase it down and find it again. Once all 4 weak points have been destroyed, it will kind of like fall over again, and it'll make like a crying noise. And that's essentially when it's going to be like calling for help. And Vomvilists are going to begin trying to rush to it to heal it. You can either try and destroy them more manually, or again you can use Limbo's big Rift ability, which takes them out of its plane, which is kind of cool, so it stops them from healing, and you can even freeze them as well to get yourself some free kills. Once that's happened, it's going to stand back up again, and it's going to get its shield back. I don't think it's as much this time around though. Deplete its shield, and then you can actually start damaging the Eidolon itself. So try and do this as quickly as you can, because the Vomvilists can still try to heal it, and they'll basically like restore its shields. and whilst they are restoring its shield, it's actually going to be invulnerable to all damage, including the void beam. So if you're wondering why you can't damage it, then it's because the Vombliss are trying to heal it, and so you'll need to destroy those first. Mostly deplete all of its health. Congratulations, you've emerged victorious. And as you can see, this is down. As you can see, a lot of this is down to preparation and practice. Don't worry if your first try doesn't go too immensely well, or you feel like you're being left behind a little bit like other players. There's a lot going on in these, and you just keep practicing. And next up, we're going to take a look at kind of how to use Limbo and how to use Mirage. Okay then, so next up we're going to look at how to mod a couple of Warframes, and these Warframes in my opinion are quite easy to use for Eidolon hunting. The first one is going to be Limbo. Now I'm going to pick Limbo because to be useful with Limbo you don't actually need to cause damage, you're actually going to be here as a utility character. So first up you're going to be targeting duration and range, so ignore the rest of the stuff that's on here. The only really important stuff is things like Augur Message, which in fact that's obviously going to be great because you can get shields and stuff. Streamline's always useful, obviously. Ability range, that kind of stuff. So you want a large amount of range so that you can cover the Eidolon from being healed, and the duration is to keep it there for as long as you can. Now this is hardly optimized. I could put Constitution in here, but I do like to have a bit of survivability, so I'm not too squishy, even if Limbo doesn't need it. So the thing that we are speccing for here, if we go into Limbo's abilities, is the Cataclysm ability. So this is what you're going to pop whenever the Eidolon goes down. It's about to do an energy spike to stop the squad from getting wiped, and you're also going to use it when the terrorist is trying to heal itself, combined with the two to freeze Vombliss in place. Note that whilst Cataclysm is over an Eidolon, the rest of the party cannot damage the terrorist. So once it stands back up again, you're going to want to take this back off so that people can resume attacking. Otherwise, you might get a few complaints. So that's the basics of using Limbo. I actually think it's really easy, really good to use for Eidolons in terms of being a beginner. Next, we're going to look at Mirage. So we're going to go from a utility / survivable Warframe to one that you're going to use for DPS. I can already hear people saying, but it's not the most DPS. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about easy to use here. So when it comes to Mirage, we're speccing for Doppelgangers. As you can see, mine gives an extra 40% damage for the duration of Doppelgangers, which lasts 40 seconds. That's more than enough time. Actually, you don't need this to last that long. So looking at not the Rubico mods, looking at the Mirage mods. Again, this stuff is kind of off the course, although Vigilante is obviously going to be good for the crit damage. You want a bit of duration. I mean, that's probably too much. You probably could take that off for something else. But obviously, we've kind of got that to counteract this. Obviously, Streamline's always useful. Things like Augur Secrets intensify. So as you can see, we're target power strength above everything else. And really, as long as you don't reduce duration, you're okay. And that is basically it for Mirage. Obviously, again, bit of survivability on there. Go with some big shields just because she doesn't have very much in the way of health. So yeah, those are the two easiest to use Warframes in my opinion. Are they the best? No. You can take other Warframes like Vault, Oberon, Trinity, Chroma. There are loads that you can take in there, but I just wanted to put a couple in there that are easy to get the hang of, and are going to keep you being fairly useful in the Eidolon fights. So that's going to be the end of this video, guys. This has been quite a long one for me to put together, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Please let me know down in the comments whether or not you've got any extra advice for new players or for me, and I'll catch you in the next one.